Good evening. We'll call the City Commission meeting to order for Tuesday, February 25th. Melissa Carter will call roll.
Commissioner Edwards.
Here.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Here.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Here.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Here.
Mayor Maples.
Here. We will now have our invocation by Pastor Luke Letzinger of the First Nazarene?
Yes.
Got it. All right, please stand.
I just want you guys to know we started a prayer meeting last year, and every week we are praying for you guys in the local government. So thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lord, we love you. We thank you so much for this day. We thank you, Lord, for Coffeyville and just what this town means to us. Lord, we pray that you would be present in this meeting, Lord, that you'd be leading and guiding and giving discernment and your wisdom, Lord. And we just pray that this town would be blessed due to the efforts of those around, Lord. And we just love you so much. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will now have a review of the agenda. Number one, the consent agenda, City Commission minutes for Tuesday, January 28th. Number two, action to appoint Chris Weiner as Director 1 to the KMEA Board of Directors, serving until April 30th, 2027. And then we have actually two appropriation ordinances this meeting, because we did not have a meeting in February earlier in February due to a lack of a quorum. So,
Yes, I have highlights from both of the appropriation ordinances. Okay, the first one is annexed in the amount of $35,415.50. This is the electrical department. It has to do with street lighting and lamps and 8 25 kVA transformers. The second one, BG Consultants, that's design and engineering on various projects that we have going on, like the street project, multi-trail design, subdivision plan, etc. $29,880. Clear Creek Golf Car and Utility. These are for some UTVs that we're going to use for parks, cemetery, and golf course with carry-alls, for the amount of $28,441. We have Crane Buick, GMC of Springdale, Parks Department. It was one of the trucks, if you will remember, that we approved to public service of buying several, and they're listed on here as we go through this. $36,015. We have Delta Fire and Safety, $11,920.27. That has to do with some helmets and some safety equipment and clothing for the fire department. We have Edna Diesel and Auto Repair LLC in the amount of $18,309.10. This is for some replacements and service on some equipment that we have. We have Feld Fire. This is for our 2025 Spartan fire truck in the amount of $742,849.59. Green Country Auto Sales, $23,294. This is another vehicle for Parks Department. Hamphill Oil Distributors, this is for airport. This is jet fuel, 7,616 gallons. It'll be $22,357.52. Hawkins Incorporated, this is a company that the Water and Wastewater Department buy chemicals and so forth from. They bill us periodically throughout the year, $37,350. Jim Norton T-Town Chevrolet, we have a 2023 Chevrolet Tahoe for the police department, $54,500. We have our Kansas Eastern Region Insurance Company. This is our workman comps premiums for 2025, $242,596. Kansas State surplus property, we purchased some various vehicles, dump trucks, and some pickup trucks used at a good price for Public Service Department in the amount of $73,060. We have Solutions North Bank. We had a couple of, if you remember, we had a first-time buyer homeowner program that was offering $5,000. We had two customers, people take advantage of that program. And then if you also remember in January, we gave out service awards for 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years of service to the city. So between the homeowner deals that we offered and the service awards, that was $12,105. Southwest Power Pool, that has to do with the transmission service, $720,402. And then Wartsila North America, this has to do with out of the new generation plant. This is for the 18K and 24K maintenance intervals that we have, and we approved of those some time ago. This one is $69,732.37. And then we also had payroll of $402,225. Then for this regular meeting, we had Asphalt Tree Expert Company, $13,011. We had B&L Electric. This is for a project, the substation upgrade, and 45% complete of $164,378. CDL Electric, if you will remember, we had a grant that Amber got for us for replacement of street lights, converting them to LED. This is to CDL Electric for $28,462.88. We have the Kansas Municipal Gas Agency, $528,167. And Meriton Health, these are some health claims, $68,056. Olson Associates, this is for engineering and design. This is for the transformer replacement, payment number 12, $39,577. Randy Holler, LLC, this is for software and processing consultant and professional services for our utility billing, $7,738. Our residential trash service, Republic Services, $39,730. We also had and initiated the Paint the Town program. We had some more people that participated in that recently, and so this goes to Sherwin-Williams for the paint, $2,440. And then I've looked back, but there were like 100 and some pages between these two appropriation ordinances, but I think we also paid for our new street sweeper, didn't we, Martin? 200 and something?
Yeah, 280.
Okay, yeah, and I looked back in there today, and I think was in too much of a hurry again, so all of that. But those are just some of the highlights that we have. That's it.
Any questions?
No.
If not, I will move to approve items 1 through 4 of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve items 1 through 4 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
All right, the 2025 appropriation ordinance number AO-25-04A for Isham's Hardware in the amount of $7.97. I will move to approve item 5 of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve item 5 of the consent agenda as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Abstained.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Moving on to comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Do we have any comments from the public this evening? Okay, moving on to regular items, public hearings. The Coffeyville Area Chamber of Commerce 2024 Year in Review. Candy Westbrook will present.
Good evening, Commission and Mayors. So, of course, Candy Westbrook, Coffeyville Area Chamber of Commerce. And I think all of you were at the Chamber dinner, so I'm going to be presenting the year in review for all of you tonight, and I will try to keep it very low-key for you since we did talk a little bit about it at the Daniel dinner, but there's a few things I want to make sure to highlight for you tonight. And of course, if you have any questions or you want me to tell a little bit more detail about anything, just let me know. So, let me get this going first. Maybe. There we go. All right. So I wanted to start off with just a few numbers. I won't go through all of these, but just a few things to kind of help paint the picture about who we are as a chamber and what we do. Right now we're at 243 members. We hosted 25 events this past year and had over 4,000 in attendance at those events. Of course, we continue to be a kind of a hub for information for the community. And one of those items is our website. A lot of people get on our website for information. Two things that stood out to me this year is one was our event calendar. That's the community calendar for all of Coffeyville. We had over 25,000 views on our calendar page alone. We also had 320,000 views on our member listing. I kind of think we're like the new phone book because those aren't really around much anymore. But we do have a lot of people that go out to our website just to learn about what businesses are in town and how to find them. And then we had over 10,000 visitors come to our visit center from all across the country and 12 different international countries. So that was nice to see and get to meet all of them. And I won't, like I said, go through all of the numbers. A few highlights of just things that we do on a regular basis to kind of help Coffeyville and our members and keep connected. We host a monthly Business Over Breakfast, and it's a popular event that just provides great networking and then timely information about what's happening in Coffeyville and things that help our businesses. We partner with multiple groups in town to serve as kind of their office and or to help them out. Some of these are volunteer groups that kind of need just a central hub. So one of those is the Interstate Fair and Rodeo, and also Dalton Days and Leadership Coffeyville, just to name a few. And then even sometimes we partner to work on special projects. So for example, this year we partnered with the Aviation Museum and Lisa Brookover, who does amazing out there, to bring in the NASA exhibit and the Tuskegee Airmen exhibits. This year we brought back the traditional chamber bucks towards the end of the year. So a few years ago, we tried to go digital, trying to get with technology in the new times. Coffeyville does not like that. We like our print. We like our traditional stuff. So we decided we're going to bring it back, and we're excited about really getting more people to go back out to purchase those chamber bucks, give them as gift to people, business awards, whatever you want to call, but just to kind of get that shopping local back to Coffeyville. So we're excited about that. We had several partnerships with groups in town, including the city, thank you very much, to help with some downtown initiatives this year. For example, installing the downtown solar charging benches, the outdoor music speaker system on the plaza, and restoring glass in the old Dalton Jail, just to name a few. And then we had some new initiatives that we did. I think I missed a few things. Kind of talked about some of those already, so same highlights, but I kind of condensed them down this year. So, all right, some new initiatives. So a couple things we did this year to try out. One was we developed a housing playbook because we wanted a resource for whether it's an individual or a developer to fix one house to build multiple houses, just to kind of address the housing needs. We launched a 6-month, what we called Favorite Friday campaign on social media trying to encourage just that community pride and engagement and talk about the strengths of Coffeyville. And then our tourism office also launched a 12-month digital campaign, and that reached over 1 million impressions across 4 different states. We also hosted our first Women in Business Conference, and this was back last April, sold out in 2 weeks. It was a full day of speakers and activities and everything you can imagine. It was a great day, and like I said, it sold out fast. So this year we have a new location. Planning is underway, and our next Women in Business Conference will be April 17th. We also introduced storefront improvement grants. We wanted to help our chamber members with whether it's signage, paint, new windows, doors, you name it, anything to try to improve that curbside appeal. And those have been going very well. And then finally, we worked with the leadership class on a wayfinding sign project. And I will say we ran into some speed bumps this past year, had to put things on hold. It is back on track. We're working with an engineering and design company, and we got to see just this week the first kind of rough renderings of the drawings of what those signs might look like. They're really nice. They're going to be amazing. I really think it's going to be a wonderful addition to Coffeyville, and we're trying to, one of the reasons why it's taken longer, we're trying to do it the right way. We want good signs, quality signs, things that are going to last forever and really add to the value of Coffeyville. So I hope that within the next few weeks we'll have our final drawings, and then we'll be working on fundraising and getting those installed. My goal is this summer, but like highways, you know, I hate to even say a day because things always change, right? But that's my goal, is to work on getting those installed by this summer. And then finally, something that I wanted to make sure to let you know about a year ago, we sat down and worked on a longer period of strategic planning. So we wanted to have a 3-year plan on what we could do to help our chamber members, our businesses, and Coffeyville to grow. And we've seen success in some of these areas and have some great initiatives in the pipeline. I think one of the reasons we're starting to see some of that great success and momentum is because we worked really hard on developing lots of groups involved in this plan. We know that Coffeyville is stronger when we're all rowing in the same direction. And so we've reached out, we've got subcommittees, we've got different groups helping us, we've got team members, board members, all kinds of people working on this plan. And so those areas are, number one is on community image, because we know that a positive image of Coffeyville is going to help increase businesses, new residents, and investments, and of course foster that community pride and civic engagement. Number 2 is on collaborations, because I know that no community thrives in isolation. So we want to pool that expertise, those resources, you know, foster that innovation so that we can fix those complex challenges. Tourism is a big one that we're really trying to focus on, because we know that bringing those visitors in, they spend money locally, that brings money to our community and helps us out, and it can lead to improvements and additional investments. Economic development and workforce. We know that economic development creates jobs and generates revenue, and also a diverse and skilled workforce attracts more energies and just encourages that innovation. And then finally is leadership, because strong leadership is crucial. And for me, it helps to drive that positive change and motivate and navigate challenges and just provide that stability and that sense of purpose for our community. So, like I said, I told you I was going to keep it quick and easy, but those are the directions that we're moving forward and a few things that we did this past year. I will say it was a very interesting and challenging year for our office, but I feel we did some great things, and I'm really excited to see what this coming year is going to bring. So I open it up to any questions about any of those things that you might have. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Just a question.
Uh-huh.
It's either a question or could be a suggestion. Have you had any contact with either Jeffrey Tucker or Heather Morgan at the K-State Project 17 office?
No, not recently. We have talked to them in the past about some of the programs and services they offer, trying to expand.
Okay,
And I know they're one of the groups that also come in and they'll like reevaluate your town and Is that right?
Yeah, they might have some free materials, some suggestions, be worth to
Yeah.
contact them.
Yeah, that would definitely be a great group. I will definitely do that. And I'll hand these out to you. These are kind of our big year-end reports that we mailed out to all of our chamber members this past year, so I'll leave those with you as well.
Thank you, Candy. For old business, we will now have the second reading of ordinance S-25-02, a home rule ordinance of the city of Coffeyville, Kansas relating to the Coffeyville Regional Medical Center.
Madam Mayor, we're going to ask that we table this item. In the process of putting this ordinance together, the hospital thought it had all the information it needed to move forward, and yesterday Capers sent them new information, and they don't want there to be any surprises to the city or the hospital and what that looks like. So they've asked us to table that until they gather more information. We can come back and if we need to make any changes or if we're still fine to move forward. So we just asked to table that today.
All right.
I'll move to table ordinance S-25-02.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Hendricks, seconded by Commissioner Edwards to table ordinance S-25-02. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye. Okay, moving on to new business. We have number one, a discussion and action to make an appointment to the Coffeyville Recreation Commission. City Clerk Melissa Clara will make comments. Applicants are Christina Clark and Dr. Alan Gillis.
Mayor and Commissioners, the 5-member Recreation Commission has one position available for a term from March 10th, 2025 through March 10th, 2029. Notice of the board opening was placed on the city's website, Facebook page, Channel 13, and ran in the Montgomery County Chronicle for 2 weeks. I received 2 applications, one from Christina Clark, who is a new applicant, and one from Dr. Alan Gillis, who is currently serving on the board and reapplied. Both applicants are in attendance, and I'm sure would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Would either one of you like to come up and say anything? Sure.
Yes.
Come on up come on up here. That way you can be heard on the TV.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, and staff, my name is Dr. Alan Gillis. I live in 2976 North Columbus and Northbrook, Coffeyville, Kansas. I got my old address, thinking about my old address. But I've lived in Coffeyville about 47 years. I practiced family medicine for 43 years. Retired about 5 years ago and decided I'd like to do something to give back to the community because the community's been wonderful to me and my family, and I wanted to do something. So I applied for being on the city city rec board, and I've served for 5 years. It's been a great experience. We got a wonderful leader in David Raines, and he's done a fabulous job. And I think it's so important in our community that we have recreation facilities and park facilities, because young families, that's one thing they're really looking for when they move to the community. And I think for the strength of our community and recruiting and for the well-being of our citizens, that the physical exercise and parks and recreation is so important. So that's why I'm reapplying for 4 more years. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't.
No.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. My name is Christina Clark, and I am actually currently active duty military. I officially retire here in April, and I have 23 years in the United States Coast Guard. And this is actually my hometown. This is actually where I grew up and where I graduated from, and I am actually retiring back here into the community. Throughout my career as active duty military, every community that I have lived in, I have volunteered within that community. We have 2 programs in the United States Coast Guard called Partnership in Community and Partnership in Education. Through those programs, firsthand experience of how important our rec programs are for our community and our families. I'm also a single parent. For example, my mom still lives here in Coffeyville. When I had to be deployed for 3 years out on a ship, my daughter lived with my mom and actually played Little League Soccer here and some other programs, and it was great for her because, for one, she got all of her energy out playing those sports. It's amazing what our rec programs do. They are vital for our community. And I do feel that I would be a great candidate, but I know you have Dr. Gills over here who's been on the board for several years, so I do have a lot of extensive leadership abilities. My background is actually mechanical and electrical engineering as well as some project management. I also was involved in a $40 million acquisitions and logistics information with our new fast response cutters that are being built out of Lockport, Louisiana. That is actually where I'm currently stationed. But I'm on terminal leave right now, so, and like I said, I'm just used to being serving. So I've served for the past 23 years, and I would like to continue serving our community. And that aspect as well as also helps me with my own transition out of the military, which I'm finding that's going to be interesting, transitioning out. But I do feel that I can bring a lot to the board. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're fortunate to have two candidates for this position. And it seems like for so many years we struggled to find people to apply for these boards. We even went to the extent on some of the boards of cutting the number of people serving on the boards, and now it's almost an embarrassment of riches because we have, you know, multiple good people coming forward to serve. I'm going to move to appoint Dr. Alan Gillis to the Recreation Commission for a term March 10th, 2025 through March 10th, 2029. I do want to say to Christina, don't be discouraged by this. I'm glad you're here. I appreciate your service to our country. That lady sitting there 2 seats to your right has 5 or 6 committees that she may be more than happy to have you serve on. There's some role in our community I'm sure you're going to play because people like you just don't fall out of the sky very often. And I'm glad you came home. But Dr. Gillis has done a good job on this. It's one more chance for him to serve one more term on this, and then he'll be done, and maybe we can get you next time around. I'm glad you came home, though. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'll second Dawn's motion.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Vice Mayor Bannister, to appoint Dr. Alan Gillis to the Coffeyville Recreation Commission for a term March 10th, 2025 through March 10th, 2029. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bannister.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye. And Chief, I'd like to speak to you later about another possible opportunity.
Okay, now, Resolution R-25-12. A resolution to approve submission of a USDA Rural Business Development Grant application to establish a revolving loan fund. Director of Community Development, Amber Dean, will make comments.
Hello, I'm here to get permission to submit a grant application for the RDBG grant to establish a revolving loan fund for our local businesses. It's a $200,000 grant. Our required in-kind match is $77,085. That is already encumbered costs that the city already spends on personnel. It's for project oversight and administration of the program if awarded. And I just need permission to submit the application.
Commissioners, one of the things that we've talked about, we know we have a sales tax devoted to downtown businesses and looking for opportunities to support all businesses, not just those in downtown. And so we feel that this is one that can help. It will also help downtown if those businesses apply. But as you know, there has been, we're aware of, we've had this fund before at the city. Didn't always sound like it worked as well. So we are also developing a plan that we've come and present to you on how to use those funds and what the terms would be. This is purely just the application to see if we get it. And then we'd go in and create that plan what our terms would be here locally. But just another effort that community development is doing to try to help support business, small business in town.
Sounds good. Well, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-12 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Edwards to approve Resolution R-25-12 as presented. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 3, Resolution R-25-15, a resolution to authorize the execution of an agreement for the city's fiscal year 2026 partially self-funded health insurance coverage. Director of Human Resources, Allison Pryor, will make comments. Hello.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. So the item that you have before you is to approve our annual health insurance plan. The City of Coffeyville Health Insurance Plan is a self-funded plan. The plan is funded by deposits made into the city's risk management fund, which is Fund 350, by the city in an amount negotiated with the city's bargaining units, as well as the monthly premiums paid by each participating employee. As a self-funded plan during plan years where our claim expenditures are less than the city and the employee's contributions, the plan gets to retain the extra funds and carry that money forward into next year to offset additional increases in the future. With this plan type, fixed cost for the purchase of stop-loss coverage and administrative fees are the only opportunity to pursue competitive pricing for services. The claims paid by the plan reflect the employee's actual medical claim costs, and those represent the largest part of our plan costs. With a fully funded plan, the insurance carrier collects all of the premiums, and if the plan has a good year, the insurance carrier benefits from those remaining dollars. And as you're also probably aware, if you have a bad year, then those premiums increase the following year. Benefit Health Advisors has quoted 14 different carriers covering stop-loss and full coverage options. The lowest cost option, as shown on the healthcare insurance analysis spreadsheet that was attached to your agenda item, was stop-loss coverage from a company called IISI. By timely binding of this coverage, we were able to lock in pricing for this plan year that resulted in no change to our current plan design. The plan design remains unchanged for medical through the Aetna network, but does add an additional $1,000 in coverage per member for dental services in the upcoming year. There are no changes to the funds requested from the commission or to the employee's premium, deductible, or coinsurance. The plan will continue to offer the same prescription drug coverage as well as the Aetna Employee Assistance Plan and Teladoc for all covered members. Our maximum cost exposure for this year is 11.9% lower than last year, again as shown on the health care insurance analysis spreadsheet. Even if our medical claims were to reach 100% of our maximum exposure, the amount available in Fund 350 would easily satisfy that max amount. If you have any questions on this item, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
Nice to see it went down.
Yes,
The,
a
I
pleasant
noticed
surprise.
For 1 year.
in a little yellow box at the very tail end, it said amount needed to cover the overage was like 65,000 or something.
53.
Yeah, it's a
55.
negative,
That's
Let me get to
a
that.
minimal amount.
yes. Right, so we're sitting at, the percentage increase over the current plan year is a negative 11.9%, or a cost savings of $304,397.
That's awesome. That's good. Even if it is for 1 year, we'll take it.
Right, right.
I've never seen a plan go down. Of course, I'm not used to the self-funded plans, so I was quite surprised by this, but part of the reasons there's no adjustments on the other end is these plans go up and down
Right.
depending on,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So we're trying to have that even line here. We'll have good years and bad years.
Sure.
So keep those
We'll
rates.
take it.
Well, we'll take a good
We'll
year.
take
The good year this year.
Yes, exactly.
If there's no further questions, I will move to approve Resolution R-25-15 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Mayor Maples to approve Resolution R-25-15 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner,
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you. All right, now we have Resolution R-25-16, a resolution to approve a contract with ProSeal Incorporated for street maintenance application of asphalt rejuvenator on various streets. Deputy Director of Public Works, Thomas Osborne, will make comments. Hello, Thomas.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Last year, we set out once again to, with the guidance of the Commission as well as the citizens of Coffeyville, to put a focus on the City of Coffeyville's transportation and our street needs. Last fall, we talked about a toolbox. This is one of the items that I had mentioned in that toolbox that we'd really like to look into and try to utilize. We are approaching that time where, okay, it's time to get those contracts scheduled for the year, so for this summer. So we contacted ProSeal. They're kind of the leader in the area for this type of product. Again, this is something we've not tried before. All the science is there, but as I'm sure you guys know, science says one thing, and what happens in the world war, there's a whole lot of variables that go into it, and so it may not work out. So that's why we wanted to do a somewhat of a small test just to see how it's going to work with our streets and with our environment here in Coffeyville. So this would be for a asphalt rejuvenator, which essentially penetrates the surface of our asphalt streets and adds the maltines back into the asphalt to try to keep it flexible. Asphalt pavement is a very flexible pavement. In fact, it never truly cures out. On a hot day, if you've ever seen a construction worker who forgot that, they're putting their bucket on asphalt and put the teeth down, when they come back 2 hours later or an hour and a half later or whatever, that bucket has sunk in, and now those teeth are now permanently in the surface of the asphalt street. So this helps to keep that flexibility in our pavement, which reduces the cracking and the stresses in that pavement to keep that sealed up. So again, this is kind of a somewhat of a small test on a kind of a range of streets and the newer asphalt streets in town. So I think we go anywhere from, I think it's about 2 years to one that is almost 10 years old that hasn't had any sort of anything done to it. We are planning to crack seal these streets, trying to do it before because we're doing those in-house, trying to do the crack seal before, but with this product we can go back and crack seal after. We just have to wait about 45 days. We can crack seal clear up to the day before of the project as well. So,
Does this compound reduce reflective cracking?
yes, yeah. So it'll actually some of the smaller hairline cracks will actually bridge back over, and you won't really see them anymore. As well as it helps keeps that pavement flexible where it doesn't actually crack.
Okay. I did a deep dive into the chemical aspects of this product, and I had two sources. One of them says Reclamite has been used, and that's the product we're discussing.
Yes, yeah.
Has been used for more than 50 years and is proven to add 5 to 7 years surface life to pavements. It penetrates, rejuvenates, and seals the surface, replenishing the lost maltine fraction in the asphalt binder. And maltine is necessary to make this surface durable and flexible. However, another study said all studied rejuvenators have a softening effect on aged asphalt, but only a few of the revitalized aged asphalt physiochemical and rheological properties at the binder level. So is this, it kind of almost sounds like some products, you've got a 50-50. Is that why we're only doing a test?
That's why we're doing a test to see how it works with our streets in Coffeyville, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So has this company ProSeal, is there a downside?
No.
So I'm wondering, how will it, have they told you how it will affect, obviously the road oxidizes over time.
Right.
So how is it going to be different on a 2-year-old road versus a 10-year-old road?
The amount of maltines that have been oxidized out already, how stiff the pavement is, have become from that age, because this is only going to penetrate down so far. So if it's oxidized way more than that, you may not get nearly the benefit. You will probably see at least a short-term benefit no matter what. But the longer-term benefit to the full 5 years, you might not get that with the older streets potentially. If we see this type of product works good in our area with our streets and our pavements, this would be something that is rather inexpensive for the amount of area that it can cover, that you would actually want to try and do. Usually, they recommend so a new street in town, give it a year, hit this, 5 years, come back, hit it again. You can get that 7-year asphalt pavement lifespan up to 20+ years, depending on the makeup of the asphalt. And there's variables, there's tons and tons of variables, so it's one of those things that.
What about success with other cities? Have we found any, been in contact with any other cities that have used this?
I haven't talked to anybody that's used this particular directly. We've got some, I know Wichita does a lot of it, and it's just, the big part of that is southeast Kansas versus northwest Kansas, northeast Kansas, your asphalt and your aggregate, all of those, nothing's created equal, so to speak. They're not full apples to apples comparison, so that's why we want to do a good test for it.
So in the past, we've done some thin coatings. I forget what that was called.
So that was it's a modified aggregate quick set, which is a slurry or cape seal.
Yeah.
It actually has aggregate in it, and basically you're kind of putting a really ultra thin asphalt.
So if I remember,
membrane.
that's what we did on Overlook almost 15 years ago.
It would have
And
been right at,
As mastic?
It was a long time ago.
I think, 12 years ago.
And that's still what is there. That's what's breaking up now and what's
Yeah,
peeling
it's starting
off.
to,
But
spots starting to peel
it
off.
lasted much longer than
Yeah.
5 years.
Well, yeah, we had Northbrook was completely alligatored, and we didn't hear a thing from them for about 7 years after we did it up there on that one. But this product for that type of street wouldn't
Right,
work.
this product you
Yeah.
can't do on.
Yeah,
you can't
this
do on
is
broken up
something to try to
streets.
hit the new streets and keep them in good shape and prolong their life. But
And your two newest streets on this list would be, of course, Ninth Street, you're doing 10th.
Ninth Street and Cheyenne.
Cheyenne, I was
Cheyenne.
gonna say, the part you're doing
Actually,
on 10th is just from Camden to Buckeye, and that's not been, that
That,
wasn't
that,
part of.
actually, I think 10th Street would have been it would be 10th Street and Cheyenne, because I think 9th Street was done before we did 10th Street, from the college to.
Yeah.
Well, that section of Union between First and Fourth is
That's-
pretty new.
Yeah, that's
And it's-
about 10 years, 10 to
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
12
not very
years.
heavily
The one
traveled
that
either.
would benefit the most
No,
would
sir.
be those others.
I had a question on the grant section. Is that even in good condition?
Trying to remember which, I
North
didn't.
of First Street, Grant Street?
Yeah,
I
we
thought
did that when
wasn't-
we did Union Street, we did Grant Street, we did Boulder Street, and we did
Okay.
Fresno, all in the same year.
Okay.
Right there in 2016,
Okay, so it's almost been 10
2015,
years.
2016.
Yeah. We want to keep these going in less than
Yes.
10 years.
Well, it'll be a
Right.
good test.
Yeah, those, like I said, those are the kind of the oldest ones that we have on the list, just to see.
That's why I was asking, what's the downside if this doesn't go as well? as we
Yeah,
think?
there's not really a downside. If it doesn't get, you probably just wouldn't get the full five-year effect, so to speak, what they're advertised, just because
Will it
it'll have a
be-
small effect, but it's not gonna have a.
Will it start to peel off?
No,
Or will
this,
it
this,
just wear off?
this goes in, this soaks in and penetrates into the.
So it's
existing
not
line.
gonna peel
There's
off
no
like
s-
on
There's no
Overlook.
new surface. Any of those streets that are striped, we don't have to restripe. That's, all this
Like a
does
clear
is it
coat.
shoots in, they spray sand on it for traction while it's soaking in, and then that's swept up. But yeah, there's no,
One thing I noticed that citizens were commenting on some of the other cities, I was looking at some forums, well, hey, you just did something to the street, it's no longer black, it's back to this gray. It's not a coat on the top.
Yeah.
It sinks in. It will look refreshed probably for a few months, again, depending on the age and how far it's going to sink in, but it's going to come back to its color. This
it's
is
still
about
gonna, it's still gonna stay
inside.
oxidized. It won't be a new black like the other
And
product was.
What's, with no drive time?
Yeah, what's the no drive time?
Right at 30 minutes to an hour, weather,
Oh.
weather,
Nice.
weather dependent, yeah. Similar to the same.
That's good.
Same as the Mastiff was, 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay,
All right.
this sounds good.
Move to approve Resolution R 2516 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve Resolution R-25-16 as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Thank you. Okay, a resolution R-25-17, a resolution to amend the 2025 fee schedule for fiber internet fees. Executive Director of Electric, Chris Weiner, will make comments.
Commissioners have also asked for a general update to fiber, so we'll add that in here with the fees conversation.
Well, thank you, Commission. Certainly appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening and have this conversation with you. You have in front of you a proposal from staff, worked with Brent to come up with a proposal for fiber rates. We would like to move forward with trying to solidify our rates for the future to try and make sure that we can start marketing and promoting our fiber utility, trying to start getting more customers. I'll let Brent speak to this here in a minute, but we've been making some tremendous headway. He and his team appreciate you giving us the green light to build out a full team here, but they've been making some tremendous progress in getting fiber lines built, the infrastructure in place to be able to serve tremendous sections of the community that we have not been able to do before. But all that comes at a cost. Certainly, I know we'll be talking budget here, budget amendments here for this year here shortly in the next few months. But a lot of that is going to be challenging for this utility moving forward over the next few years to just from a cash flow perspective. So want to make sure that we can solidify those dollar figures and provide the cash flow on a revenue stream that we can be consistent in trying to market that price to customers. The only real significant change you'll see there as far as an increase is on the business side of things. And I can let Brent speak to this a little bit more as well, but we've done a comparison on both the residential side and the business side to see where we fit compared to our main competitor here in town, which is Cox Communications. There's also other area competitors, Quickcom, Starlink, et cetera. So we've looked at our rates compared to those others and feel that the rates being proposed in front of you are still at a very competitive rate, especially on the business side. Even though it is an increase, that is still substantially below our main competitors' prices. And so we believe that we'll be able to pick up a significant amount of market share while at the same time being able to solidify a revenue stream that hopefully will help us with cash flow and being able to get this utility on the profitable side. At the moment, given we've built a full team with the infrastructure needs that we've got, we're not cash flow positive for the utility itself, but that's to be expected because we need to get the revenue stream going. So that's where this helps us with that, so that way we can start tomorrow pushing out this marketing and promoting these rates to try and get customers lined up. I, to be honest, expect that, and Brent and I had this conversation today, that here before long I anticipate they'll have some substantial challenges when it comes to what do we prioritize. Do we prioritize getting new customers hooked up, or do we prioritize getting more sections of the community built out? So that's certainly the hope. It's a good problem to have, but what we're looking forward to, the future of this this utility is very bright, and so appreciate again the opportunity to have this conversation with you and answer any questions you have on that front. So you want to go ahead and give a fiber update, or? Okay.
Okay. I'm Brent McDaniel. I know most of you. Nice to meet you, Mayor. Yeah, I came on in August. I've got 24 years experience in communications, in networking, stuff like that. So I've been here since August. In October, we hired two other guys, Aaron Kersey and Bo Hansen, to come on as the team. And so since then, we've taken what you already had and added on to it, kind of figured it out. It's been a learning process, definitely, on how things were set up. But we've got it pretty much figured out. We've ran about somewhere between 6 and 7 miles of fiber. We've hooked up about 45 customers since we came on. I think we're up to 182 total fiber customers so far. Some of that was outside city limits that we ran. About 3 miles of that was outside city limits. We had a problem with we also inherited the wireless internet network, and also the city's internal fiber network, so we manage that as well. And so we did have some problems with one of the wireless antennas. It went down. We lost about 25 customers. We managed to pick about 10 of those back up by getting fiber built out to those people, and we managed to do that. There was about 10 of them down in South Coffeyville that we couldn't pick up. They were even south of South Coffeyville. So anyway, that's kind of where we are right now. I'd say about 2/3 of the town is built out. Not all of it that's built out is ready to go. It needs activated. It needs some work done to it. But just today, we ran 4 blocks of fiber to replace some squirrel chewed stuff. And we're about to fire up 12 blocks. Tomorrow, we'll be in a position to light up 12 blocks and be able to start adding more customers in that area. So,
Commissioners, yeah, my understanding is fiber's been around 6-7 years. The progress that these three are making just in a few months is quite surprising compared to what we've had for 6 or 7 years. So I think, as Chris said, the future is bright. We are moving quick on fiber. Initially, when Brent came on, I said, let's just figure out what we have. Let's not worry about new customers yet. We kind of had a little bit of a dumpster fire to figure out, and they have well exceeded my expectations by adding people on. I didn't expect to do that till perhaps end of '25, and so we are moving forward and very happy with the progress we're making there, fiber.
Do you have the equipment that you need?
there's some things we need. We're making do with what we have. Trencher would be very nice to bury underground drops. The lines from our network to the house.
Yeah.
Something small for that. We don't need anything great big for that. We need something that can get it about 3 feet in the ground.
Yeah.
Need that. Eventually, we'd love to talk to you about a new bucket truck, because the bucket truck we have is, it could use, we need an upgrade.
I understand.
And a few other things. But we're making it work with what we have.
Yeah.
And we're finding more efficient ways of doing things too. So
Yeah.
we're actually trying to save money. We're not cutting corners, but there are much cheaper ways of doing things than what was out there already. So
Do we have enough bandwidth to accommodate future
Yes.
businesses out in the, out in the business park?
yes, yes, we do.
Okay.
And we are monitoring that right now. We're keeping an eye on the network to see how it functions and handles. But now, if you're talking about a big business, maybe the hospital or something like that, we would have to do some other things. That would be a totally different kind of workup than what we're doing for just a regular small business.
I have some questions, comments. One, describe the size of the trencher you need and how much it would cost, and what are you doing now for trenching?
Right now, we're renting one. There, Mike, I can't remember his last name. He used to own Ace Hardware. Yeah.
Hardware is
We
from
rent
Rent,
his.
yeah.
We rent
They're in
his
the
from
thing.
So
him.
how much is that?
$60 an hour.
Yeah.
An hour
An
on the
hour?
machine.
Yeah.
How
An
much
hour
is the
on-
machine?
The machine, we can get a used one for, I think, about 15,000.
It's on the list, Commissioners.
Yeah.
So
Same thing on the
we-
list.
we-
Thank you.
We're also working with some of our other utilities that need trenchers. So Chris and Jim are actively talking about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then marketing, when some new houses were built up on the, north side of town, it was kind of the same story from every owner who just moved in was, well, we didn't know. We didn't know Coffeyville had fiber. We didn't know Coffeyville had internet, and a lot of people still don't. And word is spreading, of course, but there's still a lot of people who don't. So do you have door hangers marketing? Is there something you send out with utility bill?
Bo
In
Hansen,
the areas
one of my
that
guys-
you're ready to go. You can't
Yeah.
do it everywhere, but
Yeah, Bo Hansen made up flyers that he was hanging out, but we haven't hit that very hard. We want to get the rates secured
Yeah.
Yeah.
for now before we
Absolutely.
actually start
Yeah, we
advertising
appreciate that.
too much.
Thank
We don't
you
want to
for that.
say, this is available, and then we come back and, well, everything's changed, so.
It sounds like something that's right down Ashley Tatman's alley.
Yeah,
Marketing.
actually, he and I were talking about that just the other day about getting.
Well, it sounds like you've got a plan.
Yeah,
We
Yes.
appreciate
we do.
that.
Yes,
We do.
thank you.
Okay.
there's
Come on.
only, there's one change I would ask to be made on these rates. And that would be on the residential, you have the 100 is 60 and the 250 is 80 and the gigabit is 110. Change the 250 to 500 and make it 80.
So I believe we already have a 500 today that we charge 100 for.
I believe so.
On the business.
No,
I'm looking, I'm
as
just
of
saying
right,
residential, I'm not talking business.
as
Leave
of right
business
now,
alone.
yes, there's several. There's a 25 meg, 50 meg, 500.
Yeah.
And we're trying to simplify it and take some of those things out.
What I'm saying on
Appreciate
the
it, yeah.
residential
I
is
understand.
replace the 250, just make it 500 up and down and charge 80. Because then it will go 60, 80, 110, you'll go 100, 500 gigabit.
When you guys put this together, you looked, what all did you look at?
We compared-
Starlink,
Oh, okay.
A lot of
And-
them.
okay.
All right.
Yeah, all those that you named, yeah.
And wanted to try and make sure that we're competitive from the standpoint that I don't want to, for somebody else that's not currently in Coffeyville, to see that, hey, our prices are better than the other suppliers in the
Yeah.
community at the time.
Sure.
And so they see a market opportunity to move into Coffeyville. I want to be competitive so that way, if we don't have those other competitors choose Coffeyville, that there are other more attractive places for them to devote their resources to in building out infrastructure in, rather than our community. So that's my goal, was that, hey, we're at a price point that is competitive, yet we're going to be able to fund the services of the utility. So my only concern with your suggestion,
That won't change your revenue or service.
but that would be a decrease in the cost of that level of service from, compared to today. Because today, those customers are paying $100 per month.
You don't have that listed on, what I'm saying is you don't have that listed on
But he's
residential,
saying
you have
that-
that listed on business. I'm saying leave business alone, only on the residential, change that 250 line to 500, make it 80.
Right, so I believe the
The
list.
rates that we have now, that is available.
It's just, it's not on the list
It's
in
not
front of
listed.
you, that, so we're doing away with that, with that option was the proposal.
On the
But if you
residential.
would- Yes, on the residential. But if the desire would be that we still keep that option, if that's what the commission would so choose to do, we could certainly keep that option, but I'd like to keep that at that same rate, at that $100 rate for 80, or for 500, or we could still then offer the,
250 at 80.
at 80. I'd probably say then that we'd go ahead and keep the gig at 120 then, so you just stagger in
Mhm.
$20 increments. But Brent's goal was to try and simplify the number of offerings that we have, and make it a little bit easier.
Well, and also my goal is that within the next couple of years, the 100 goes away and our minimum be a gig, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure,
and-
understand that.
and- Which is where we need to
Yeah.
be.
Right.
We can't do that right now. We're
Okay.
not there yet.
I've always wanted for the city to be in the fiber to the home business. I have always been extremely skeptical that we had the right people to do the job the right way, because ultimately what I want to see us provide to the citizens is an internet utility that has the same level of dependability as our electric department. And if we achieve that, it's going to be successful. And I'm not just saying this because I've known you for most of my life, but the people that have been hired since, this past August, it's an entirely new group of people. They know what they're doing. And I am absolutely confident that this is going to be, that this is being run correctly, that we're ready to start, soft rolling it out, and that it's being put together in a way where, people are going to look at it as equally dependable of a service as what our electric department provides. So I'm okay with trying this the way that you guys have it set up right now. Let's roll with that.
Yep.
If we need to make adjustments in the future, we can tweak it a little bit, but I'm ready to start generating some revenue.
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah.
And I know you have your want list of equipment, but I appreciate you're trying to get by for right now until we can get that done.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
that means a lot, because I know everybody's got a big want list.
Yeah.
And that I appreciate. You're trying to
Oh, I have a
make it
picture
go.
of the bucket truck that I'd love to have.
I know. Okay, you already have that picture.
Is that on your calendar?
Okay.
We can't double the rate to get that.
No, thank you.
Yes.
It's appreciated very much.
So,
Move to approve
Okay.
Resolution R 2517 as presented.
I'll say,
No, go ahead.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-25-17 as presented. Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
aye.
Keep up the good work, guys.
Yes,
Thank
thank
you
you very
so
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Now, ordinance S-25-03, an ordinance rezoning 1102 and 1104 West 10th Street from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Two Family Residential. Director of Facility Services, Matt Conger, will make comments.
Good evening,
Matt?
Mayor and Commissioner. The property of 1102 and 1104 West 10th Street has applied for a rezoning from R1 Single Family Residential to Two Family Residential. The applicant, Carl Voss, is here in attendance. If you don't remember, back in November of '24, the city signed a purchase agreement with Mr. Voss to purchase that property from the city, pending the rezoning. In January, he went before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and approval for the rezoning was given by the Planning Commission. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer, or Mr. Voss is also here.
Thank you for choosing Coffeyville.
Yes, appreciate it very much.
Well,
Aye.
if there are no questions, I will move to approve the first reading of ordinance S-25-03 as presented.
Second.
Okay, I'm not sure who controls.
Faulkner, he seconded.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion is made by Mayor Maples, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve the first reading of ordinance S-25-03 as presented. Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Thank you.
Good job, Matt.
Okay, number 7, a resolution, R-25-18, a resolution to sign a lease agreement with the Coffeyville Veterans Memorial Park Foundation to lease 1614 West 5th for the purpose of storing burial flags. Director of Facility Services, Matt Conger, will make comments. Hello
Mayor and
again.
Commissioners, the address is 1614 West 5th Street. This is a city-owned property. It is an abandoned substation. It's currently fenced in. It's a secured lot. The organization, Coffeyville Veterans Memorial Park Foundation, they needed an area to store some burial flags. I believe John Hufford with the organization has a few words for you
Okay.
about the project. I'll let him speak, and then I'll answer more questions.
Mayor, Commissioners,
Good
pleasure to
evening.
be here tonight. I'm the chairman of the Coffeyville Veteran Memorial Park Association. We are a business entity. We have articles of incorporation with the state of Kansas. We also carry insurance, and so it's been actually around a year since we came in here before you and asked for a resolution, I think it's R-24-18, to build a new memorial out at the cemetery. We are still on track to do that. However, our burial flags, we have 1,380 burial flags that actually belong to citizens of deceased veterans. And those have been housed for a while at another, up on A Street, I'll say that. And we was asked to relocate them because they need the room back. That's the nuts and bolts to it. So now we are asking Matt has helped us look around, and we've looked around trying to find some place to put a 40-foot shipping container, which we have found one from Budget Box here in Seneca, Missouri. We went and looked at it and picked it out. It's a nice-looking storage unit, and we have an agreement, an invoice on it to purchase it ourselves. And that's what we're going to do if we're approved to put it somewhere. So that's what we're on track for. I do have a copy of the invoice and a picture of what the Connex looks like. It's not a brand new one, but it's a Class A, so it's not all beat up and rusted, and it is weatherproof, rodent-proof. And these flags we're going to put in here is irreplaceable. 1,380 burial flags. They're all in boxes and crates. What happened, I had the Coffeyville Flags of Honor, and I still have interest. I'm still working with that too, but we had to come together with the Coffeyville Flags of Honor, Coffeyville Avenue of Flags, and the Court of Valor. And so we've all joined together, and it's all bundled together now. And Chris Perkins has done a real good job with the Coffeyville Avenue of Flags for years, but he just got to the point where he said, I can't do it anymore. So we're going to take it under our wing. Hopefully we keep volunteers with this program, and then take care of the, we also have 4 trailers with flag poles on them as well. We're going to be storing there. So it'd be real helpful if the city would let us have use of this lot. And I guess I'm open for questions.
I don't have any questions. I think it's a very good, honorable thing what you're doing, and I'm glad that we have somewhere that they've figured out you could put your container and we can help you out so that you can see this.
We'll take care of it.
Goal.
We'll
I know
maintain
you
it.
will. We know
We
you will.
appreciate you,
Yeah.
you doing
I
what
did
you
leave
do.
you all a brochure, just something to
Yes,
look at
yes.
briefly. We're working on a PowerPoint presentation. We have our drawings done from the architectural side of it. And actually, we could go out there and lay it all out now, but we're going to go forward with this. We're going to get it done. And when we get this Veterans Memorial Park done out here, there's going to be a granite wall with all the veterans' names on it. The Court of Valor right now only has room for 713 names. And we have 2,250 names in the books to put on the wall. Wilbert Memorial is going to be our person we're working with there, and they've already supplied us with this granite wall. They've already supplied us with plaque 1, plaque 2, etc., all the names on there, the way they're going to be listed. So I've already got all that. So we're moving along with it. We just need to get money now, get the public involved and a little bit more. What you see sitting here is our pavers. This is, of course, the 4x8, and then we have this one down on the floor, a little larger. And when we order get to the point where we can order the wall, which is $161,000, they will, when they deliver the wall, this thing's going to be about 70 foot long. It's going to be all lit up. It'll look beautiful out there. When they do that, they're going to bring us 500 of these pavers, which we're going to pay for up front. And then we'll place them, have them placed by somebody that knows what they're doing. And, of course, and then as people buy them, Memorials will come up here and put their name on it, businesses, etc. We really haven't been out here. It just takes a while to get everything together. Sure. And like I said, it's been a year. We're still crawling with it, but eventually we'll get there.
Okay.
So thank you.
We
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. If there's no further
I do
question?
have a question.
Okay.
Mr. Huffer, is this storage solution, is this a permanent solution for you, or is this temporary?
Permanent. As
Permanent?
for now.
So you want it in this kind of container, or would you rather have a storage building with shelves or something like that?
We would rather have a place where we could actually store our flags and our trailers and have a place for our meetings.
Like a building?
Right, a building. Now what, I have a couple of my members here. You might know both of them, but and they might have something to say as well. But what we're really looking at, our long-term goal is possibly the plaques we take down out there that's there now. We're going to preserve them, and we're going to clean all that up and make a park out of that. Parking place plus vegetation, make it look nice. So when people do come for a veteran ceremony or something, they'll have some place to park.
Yeah.
And then up north, we're going to have handicap parking and stuff, so people don't have to walk so far to get to it.
So my next question is, on the storage of the flags in this container, is this does the location matter? You're okay with this location, but would you rather have it on the cemetery, on cemetery property somewhere?
We asked that.
The container.
We asked that question.
You did, okay.
Yes, I did.
For
And
convenience.
it was said no. We
Okay.
got a no. And I'm not going to go into that any further. I guess it's kind of changed hands as far as taking care of it. But as far as the building goes, what I was going to say was, in the future, maybe all of us can get together in the city. I would love to see a museum go in town here. We have Sam Niles that's also on our committee. He does a lot of reenactments. But I would like to see a building that we can make use of to store our flags, have our meetings, at the same time turn that into a museum. And it's going to help Coffeyville with tourism. When we get this wall up, we will have many people come to look at it. There's a lot of family members, like I said. There's 3,000 that I know of. And matter of fact, if I open the book up, which I didn't bring tonight, that's a large book. But if you look at the first name on the wall, these are all in alphabetical order. So if someone goes out there to find a family member, they're alphabetized. And Ablos, for one, lived down the street from me, and him and my boy grew up together. That's the first name on the list. And I can go down the list, and I've seen a lot of these families, and they still have relation here. And we get letters from out of state even, wanting their family's name on the wall. So we're open to, it's not going to cost anyone to have their name on the wall. Whatever names we have and present to Whitmore Memorial at the time we order this, there's no extra charge. It's $161,000. And then in the future, as other veterans would like to be put on the wall, as long as we have 10 names, they'll come up and put them on for $100 a piece. But probably we'll have to figure out how to get the money for that, or the families can pay for it.
Commissioners, if I would say, maybe the appropriate term is temporarily permanent. We want to help this organization. It's a cause we want to see in Coffeyville, so as long as they need that. I know there's been talk of buildings. We went out to the airport and looked for space. We went and looked at New Gen for space. Some of the issue is these boxes are large and they're heavy, and to be able to get in and have easy access to them for those events. So we'll supply this as long as the commission allows it and as long as they need it. But I know there are other conversations that need to happen. They're also looking for a place for meetings. So I think there may be on their end that they find something better. There may be on the city's end we can help differently. So I think this will be fluid as we move forward, but we did need to act immediately because they were losing their space.
And this is just a place for you to start.
Right.
Okay.
And then
I
later on,
appreciate that.
I'm sure we could take and
Yes.
use if we had to sell this or something at a later date and get it something more permanent, we could resell it
Okay.
and put the money back in the funds.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move to approve Resolution R-25-18 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to approve Resolution R-25-18 as presented. Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for
much
what
for
you're
all
doing.
you
Thank you.
do. Thank you, all of you. Okay, now we have Resolution R-25-19, a resolution to approve a contract with GovWell to support building inspections and code enforcement. Director of Facility Services, Matt Conger, will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioner, this is about a software that supports building inspections, code enforcement, and also contractor licensing. We've been using a company called MyGov since 2010. In 2024, they forced us to upgrade to a new module they had, and it took away a lot of key features we were utilizing in the old version. About the last 6 months, me and my employees have been going to multiple companies. We probably had 10 demos from different companies that do the same kind of software. GovWell it has everything that we need. Matter of fact, they had one thing that we didn't like, and the next day they called us and they had it completely redesigned for us.
Wow.
So it does come with additional yearly cost, about $6,250 more a year from what we're currently paying MyGov. A big key thing with GovWell is they can use it in the field. So instead of taking notes on paper and coming in and then inputting into the system, they can start cases or do building inspections in the field, take pictures. It saves automatically, so it'll cut down on on time, I think, a lot.
Double time. That'd be nice.
Be happy to answer any more questions about the software.
I must admit, when I read just the top line initially, I got all excited when I said, when I saw to support building inspections and code enforcement. I thought we were actually going to hire more staff for code enforcement.
Yeah, but this may make their lives easier to
Yes.
make them more
Yes.
efficient.
Yes.
I hope so, yes.
So,
Okay.
Commissioners, a couple things on this. It was more expensive, and Matt did a lot of negotiating with them to get it to the price where it is at. Initially, we were not going to bring it up. We were just going to have to go and settle for second or third place. But with the commissioners' desires for a renewed effort, a greater effort on code enforcement, this was just that optimal for trying to maximize the work that those folks are doing out there. So that's why we ended up bringing it here. We did haggle a lot to get some pricing down as well, but that effort is why we went with the number one option versus a second or third.
And it sounds like as you use this company may be more open to make some changes that you might like to see once you start using it and
That's what we're hoping.
come up with some ideas, make your life easier.
Move to approve Resolution R2519 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Edwards, seconded by Vice Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-25-19 as presented. Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Matt.
very much. Okay, Resolution R-25-20, a resolution to approve the Brian Nisley Memorial Demolition Derby's 2025 special event cereal malt beverage license and authorization to sell cereal malt beverages in Walter Johnson Park during their special event on June the 7th, 2025. City Clerk Melissa Carter will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, the Brian Nisley Memorial Demolition Derby has applied for a special event cereal malt beverage license. The event is held in the arena at Walter Johnson Park, so this cereal malt beverage license will need to be approved by resolution, as this will exempt them from the city ordinances prohibiting the sale of alcohol in public places. The Brian Nisley Memorial Demolition Derby has an approved special events application on file with me for their event on June 7th, 2025. This is the 7th year for this event. I pulled some data from Placer AI, and it indicates in the last 3 years, this event has brought between 2.7 and 3.4 thousand attendees from several different states. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Department provides security, and EMS and fire personnel are also on scene during the event. This resolution will allow beer sales only in the arena at Walter Johnson Park for the duration of the special event on Saturday, June 7th from 6 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. This CMB application meets the requirements set out by the state statute and is eligible to be licensed. Therefore, I am recommending approval of this resolution to provide the Brian Nisley Memorial Derby a special event CMB and the ability to serve at Walter Johnson Park for their event. Happy to answer any questions you have.
No, sounds like you've done all the work and got them prepared, so I'm going to move to approve Resolution R-25-20 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Van Oster, second by Mayor Maples to approve Resolution R-25-20 as presented. Vice Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Faulkner.
Aye.
Mayor Maples.
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Aye.
All right, we will move on to the city manager's report.
Thank you. I want to start with Chris to come up for an update that I thought would be helpful to commissioners, so we'll go start with Chris here. Take it over.
Just wanted to mention real quick, as I'm sure you're aware, we have started our overhaul of our Wartzilla engines out at the new generation plant. And there were some comments and questions about, what the condition of those engines are. As you know, we've combined the two intervals of maintenance, the 18,000 hours with the 24,000 hours to try and avoid the expense of having to tear these apart once and then 6,000 hours later tear them right back apart again. There's a lot of mobilization costs there, et cetera, so let's combine these two into one. There's a lot of logic to that, but there's also, we're seeing some downside to that. We've only got one engine open to this point. What we are at about, I should say, with that, we're about 21,500 hours going into this at this point. So we've got Unit 8, Engine 8, that's tore apart. We started last Monday with that. Thus far, we've seen, we've got the cylinder heads. There's 18 within this one engine. Got them pulled out for inspection, which is all part of the normal standard process, what we would expect. Along that line, the cylinder liners are being honed and grinded. Again, part of the standard process. But some of the things that we're seeing that's unexpected, we've got 7 so far broken exhaust valve springs. That was unexpected to find. Some of these valve springs look like they've been broken for quite some time, though. Unfortunately, the only way you can really see that there's an issue there is by tearing the engine apart. So looking at what that might have been the root cause, because there's we didn't, as I said, we did not expect that to be the case. We were not expecting that to need to be addressed at this point, so we're going to try and do some investigation on what that may have been, if it was a material defect or what that situation may have been, but we'll look into that.
Are those springs, pardon me for interrupting, are those springs sourced locally here in the U.S., or do they have to come from Germany?
So at least the initial springs came from Wartzilla in Germany. So we're going to reach out to them and say, hey, because all the springs, from what we can tell, they all broke at approximately the same location. So we're wondering if it might be a defect in the material. So we're going to investigate that. Don't expect to get anywhere with Wartzilla, but we're still going to go ahead and look into that and have a conversation. In addition to that, the exhaust valve, it needs to be cleaned. We're in the process of doing that. That was part of the standard process, but it may need to be replaced, is what it's looking like, unfortunately.
Because of the spring breaking?
No, separate issue, carbon buildup on the exhaust valves. So
They can't grind them?
Yeah, so they're trying to clean them, but the chrome has worn off of the valve stem on these exhaust valves, and as such, we may need to replace them, because if there's no longer chrome present, that'll make the engines run really hot, and so that'll be very inefficient. And
that shouldn't have come off either.
Right, but the thought process is, though, maybe the carbon buildup has caused the chrome to erode. So another component there that just, I would not recommend that I know we were looking at, well, maybe can we go instead of, 24,000, can we, if things are looking great when we get inside there, can we extend that? I don't think that's a good idea. I think we'd probably be looking at, we want to go ahead and try and do the 18,000 interval. It may be worthwhile for us to look at, well, do we go ahead and do the 24,000 at the same time that we do the 18,000? Do we just do them about 18 to 19,000 hours? But waiting to 21.5 to 22,000 hours, I don't think is working in our favor, because we're going to have extra repair costs here than what we would have had otherwise, I believe.
Yeah.
On the next one, whether that spring was a material defect or it wasn't.
That's a good point. That when we get these
batch of parts
right, so when we get these next 2 engines opened up and see what's inside them, we should have a better insight on, are we seeing the same things across the board with these engines. We were expected to be able to tear into that other engine next week, but that's going to be delayed by a little bit with some of these issues that we're running into, because I believe the beginning of March is now when we're looking at to try and tackle that one, or sorry, March 14th, I think, is when we're looking at. But we're going to send the turbochargers off for reconditioning. So the issues that we've seen so far with the gas admission valves and the coil packs, we knew we were going to need to replace those. Those were already planned to be replaced at the 18,000 hour mark, and so we knew we were going to have to replace them, but we believe that they have been, them failing have been the root cause of some of the outages that we've seen here recently. And so those outages obviously cost us money as well. Anytime we go, we have to take an outage, even if it's only for an hour, that, hey, we have a pressurization issue, that, hey, we're able to get it resolved and get the engine online, but we're down for an hour, and that costs us revenue. As well as I have to, if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, I've got to call a maintenance guy out and pay him double time to come out here and get the engine back online when like it should be. So that we have costs associated with these engines whenever we have an outage concerned, and so we're trying to get reduce the number of outages. Certainly is advantageous to us in the long run. So I think that 18,000 hour mark probably is about where we need to be. We might be able to go 19 to 20, but I wouldn't go beyond 20. So that would be my recommendation moving forward. Now, we're averaging 3,500 hours a year, so we're probably looking at, we've still got a number of years before we're going to have to go through all this over again, but I still wouldn't recommend that we push that out beyond another 20,000 hours.
And I would encourage you to contact GRDA and make them aware of what's going on, so that they don't try and all of a sudden demand that you bring those online to supply power to them when they start going down.
Right, and so, yeah, we already have a scheduled outage with GRDA, so that they know that we're out on this engine, and Tony reached out to GRDA today to let them know, hey, our scheduled outage, which was supposed to start on Friday this week on the next engine, Unit 9, we're going to have to delay that by about a week to be able to address these other issues. So GRDA is well aware of what we've got going on. And Stillwater just went through what we're doing now here, because we got this sister plant to Stillwater, as I'm sure you're aware, and they went through it here about a month and a half ago. So we're thankfully able to we've talked with their team, and they ran into some things that they were able to give us some heads up on and some advice on, and we're able to partner, given that we have a sister plant so close that it's advantageous for us that they just went through this situation, so we're able to kind of be able to get a head start on some of these items. So, but I did want to just make you aware of kind of the situations that we're seeing thus far, and kind of the assessment that we've been able to make here early, at least on the first engine. The next two could be perfect when we open them up, but at least here what I'm expecting based on this first engine is that we probably need to try and err on the side of let's not run these quite as far as we have moving forward.
See. You'll find out.
Right.
Springs should never break in an application like this.
So.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate the pictures on Facebook also. I'm sure Amy did those.
Absolutely.
And just so that people know what happens out there, and
Right.
that these have to be, maintained every, so many thousands of hours. And it just lets the public know, I think, what keeps them informed.
Absolutely.
And then, do you mind if I ask him a question real quick?
Please.
I just want to ask, because I was going to ask later, but since you're already up there, how did the outage for transferring over the service today out by the hospital go for that area?
We had some complications, but overall it went, we were able to work it out, and it went fairly well. But it's certainly, we had numerous issues today with some outages. We had some challenges out in the county, and so it was, overall, it was an interesting day, but thankfully we were able to get things handled here before the end of the day, and so glad our distribution team is fabulous and does a lot of great work. We need to get some additional linemen to make it easier on them, because we're still short 2 journeymen, but certainly something that we're hopefully be able to address that here in the near future, and be able to reduce the strain on a kind of a stretched crew when we run into days like today. So.
Okay, all right. I just was curious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Commissioners, I got several other items just wanted to bring to your attention to talk about. Our first-time home buyer program. Amber, we're at 7? Yes. We're already at 7 this year.
That's
this
awesome.
is your first home bought in Coffeyville program. And so I got that report today, and I just thought, wow. So people are from the outside buying homes here and using this program. Of course, our advertising has gone up for that, and so we're maxing it out at the beginning of the year, but our bankers know about it, and our realtors know about it, and so they are encouraging those folks that they're working about to use that program.
Awesome.
As you know, this year is our full union contract negotiation year. I've had some good conversations with some of our union members. We've sent out an email talking about what we want to do. I know they've been getting together. In fact, they several weeks ago, all four of them met talking about how they can help simplify our contracts. I've been reaching out to consultants as we've been trying to understand and figure out what to do, and I've found some interesting things, not only consultants, but talking to CVR, who also has IUE, meeting with their HR director. They have a very simplified contract compared to ours. A lot of the issues that we're experiencing within our time clock systems, because we're so complex. We've been asking for other cities' contracts, not just in Kansas, but in the area, to compare, and I haven't gotten a contract yet that's over 40 pages. Ours are 80 plus pages. When I talked to a consultant today, and they're proposing some prices to help us come in and clean some of this up, both reviewing the wages that are a mess, but also our contract. One of the things this consultant said is, if yours is an 80-page, it means your unions have been there for a very long time. And he said union contracts sometimes become like an old closet, where you just keep throwing stuff in there and it combines. So I believe that our unions are open to both simplifying without reducing those benefits, as they're already looking for ways to. We'll have to bring that for you. I expect that these consultants will not be cheap, but I think it's going to be something that's going to be very worthwhile for us exercise to go through and try to get these cleaned up, as well as the wages reviewed, because we've had several years of some issues there. Electric rates, we keep pushing that back on you. I think I've visited with most of you about this, wanted to just say it out loud because I know that the public hears. We've been intending to recommend increases to our electric rates. As we've gone through the process with our consultants, we're really pushing them hard. We're getting every dollar that we've spent with them out of them to make sure that we analyze what these increases are going to do, where they're going to cover, what liabilities we have, making sure that we continue to have our electric utility as an asset. One of the things that we've found, Chris has found in several months, he's been analyzing our PCA, and it appears that the PCA has been calculated incorrectly for a number of years. We don't know how far that goes back. Incorrectly, yep. To the loss of the city, not the other hand, not that people have paying too much, but actually perhaps on decrease. We have another meeting with the consultants UFS tomorrow. I think this is probably the fourth or fifth meeting specifically about PCA and trying to understand that. And I think once Chris and his team really caught this and started doing math, we could see very quickly, and as we pointed that out to them, this is a complex calculation. It was changed about a year ago, I think, from the highs and lows to try to have a rolling average. We believe the issue goes beyond that initially we thought perhaps that was the issue. So we still have a lot to unravel. That's part of the delay in coming to commission. We want to make sure that we're increasing rates with actual factual data on what it's doing and why for our electric utility. It was mentioned by one of the staff members, the amended 25 budgets. We are fast and furious working on those. We hope to have a work session in April to review those amendments with you. We're trying to get that done as quick as we can so we can move into the 26 year, but those meetings have started. We've got several of them complete, and those reviews will be coming to you here in the next several weeks. Water, a lot of conversations with water. As you know, I went up and visited with the lieutenant governor and some of our legislative members about water, about our water plant. Participated in a meeting where we talked about Caney. Caney has a new city administrator. We invited her up. We've met with her. Jim and Steve met with her. I think we're on a much more comfortable plane than we were with the last city administrator about where we're at with water projects. One of the big challenges there, our contract that's already been signed, we're not going to just hook up Caney as soon as they have the pipe here. Part of the thing that they need to do is get their water loss in control. I believe our contract says 20%, and they're fluctuating between 30 and 50% loss. So there is more work for them to do before we'll just hook up. But those conversations, I feel there's a lot more collaboration going on now with the people involved. Water plant, of course, we had a feasibility study that was completed just before I got here, and we've done tours of our water plant. I've had dozens of conversations, gone to a lot of different meetings. We're now consulting with some other engineer firms as well to get second and third opinions on our plant. So there's not a delay on that on coming to you for a decision on what to do. Again, we're trying to make sure that we're following through what's appropriate for the community. The water plant has the potential to be just a massive and highly high-cost project. We don't want to do that if we don't have to. So we're making sure. Part of the premise of asking for the feasibility study, we're not exactly clear on. Why did we ask for it? What truly were the issues that then that engineer firm, which they're a great firm, we work with them often, then gave us results. So we're trying to understand what we asked for to make sure that their evaluation was full picture. Not feeling real comfortable that was the case, and that's why we're looking at some of these other firms and evaluating. We've had one of those meetings. We have another one coming up next week, and we'll compare all of that data as we keep making those decisions. Tennis courts. It's getting warm out, which means tennis courts are right around the corner. A lot more research has been into this. A lot of members of the public have been reaching out, talking about pickleball. We've talked to the high school about their short and long-term needs for tennis. They do not need more than the 4 courts. I was very adamant to talking to their athletic director to make sure we weren't going to do something that harmed them in the future. And their program, as it is, would take years to get to the point where they could have, I think it's regionals versus districts, to have those regionals. So with that, the current thought process, and I believe I've emailed you diagrams, is to shrink down to 4 tennis courts versus 6, and the other 2 courts, we'd replace that with pickleball courts, and we can actually get 6 pickleball courts within. And if you recall, we were going to paint pickleball courts in anyways. It was going to be temporary netting. So we started talking with the Recreation Commission on how do we house this temporary netting, how long is it going to last, who puts it up, who takes it down. And it decided that based on community feedback, it would be better to make those permanent. So at the same time, we've gone out to research. Is there anything we should know about? Apparently, pickleball has a high decibel sound rating, like up in the 60s. And so if we truly go that route, if we don't find any extreme cost changes, which we don't expect, we probably have to go look at the fencing that is already planned in there to have some type of, there's a variety of everything from fabric to things that just fit within the chain link fence. Of course, we'll have bleachers already planned that will decrease that volume, but we want to make sure that we don't also provide a hindrance to the folks that are just across the street living there. So we are looking into all those things. We will have another pre-construction meeting. We anticipate the next few weeks as the weather is changing here. Some more details will come. Code enforcement. We've gone down Walnut Street. We've had a lot of conversations. We've had some good feedback. One of the things that happened very quickly, and we talked about wanting to have our own house in order, was pointing to the city lot at the corner of 11th and Walnut. Right next to Carter's, across the street from our auto repair. There used to be a building there that was tore down. That's a city lot. A lot of parking there. It does not meet our own ordinances for just having a gravel lot that people can park on, and we've been doing that. So we went out and talked to the businesses there that park in that area. At least one of them had already come to talk to me about that lot several months ago, and just it looks ugly, and we have, yeah, lots of options on the community development side that we're consulting with community members for something just like that. But what we did is we went in and told them they had 30 days. We're going to no longer allow parking in that area. So they have 30 days to come up with other places to park. I actually personally with Matt went and visited with 3 businesses that directly affects. Had some follow-up phone calls, and then we also sent out a letter. And so we're going to put some no parking signs there and then enforce that moving forward, and working on plans to make it look a little bit nicer, since we're asking others on that same street to do that with their property. So if you did hear about that letter, those conversations, just wanted to let you know. I think that's all I have this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Comments from commissioners, staff?
I have, just want to thank Public Service for last week. You know, where we were a week ago tonight is nowhere near where we're sitting tonight. And they did a great job for treatment, getting all the roads cleared. I know it was very hard to do. And then I know water leaks have come up, and I think you've had to go and turn water off for people because they have some issues too. And so you've been doing that even on the weekend.
12 or 13 over the weekend.
Yeah, over the weekend. And people, you know, don't know all that. So just to thank them very much for what they did.
We did have a minor fender bender that went through the appropriate channels to get resolved. Of course, that happens when things are
yes.
slick and you're moving stuff around. Interesting to note, more than half of the staff that's out there, this year, this is our 3rd snow event, but this year was the first time that they have ever gone out and plowed roads. So we did have some learning curves, and yes, it was nice to get it cleared as fast as we
Yes.
did.
Yes,
Good work.
so just a shout out to them. And then also just want to mention that you do have a Coffeyville business survey out. And I know you've mailed letters out to the businesses too. So just a reminder that I hope the people get on there and take advantage of answering those questions and so forth. One last thing, since you brought up about the tennis court, are our parks and the schedule we are supposed to be on.
Yes.
I worry, I'm a little worried that we've hit this plateau, and I don't want to lose those board members, because if they feel, I don't know, I mean, they're still meeting, correct? But I know,
We did have
I
a
don't
resignation.
think everything in Sycamore's done. I know North Parks was last year, and it's not done, and
Yeah.
South is supposed to be this year. I just don't want to see them discouraged, and I want us to live up to what the people voted for and the expectation of
Yeah.
what they have of us.
I'm glad you brought that up. Commissioner actually had probably a 45-minute meeting just talking about that before this meeting today.
Okay.
On Friday, Jared and I, our Parks Director, are getting together to prepare a presentation for that advisory committee. We've met twice with the chairman of that committee, talking about changes, what we need to do. And what I found is that the way we budgeted and how we've planned, it's just not, it's not working. And so we need to go in with them and reset. We need to relook at those budgets. For example, Sycamore Park, you're right, it's not done. It already hit its budget, and to go finish is an additional $35,000 to $45,000. The next park, the issue that we ran into is the city was planning to go in and remove all those trees and degrade it, and we just don't have both the staffing and the correct equipment to do it. So we need to go look at how do we contract these out. So our budget numbers are not exactly meshing so far in the 2 years that we've
Okay.
done it. The ability for the city to be the complete contractor. So I will be meeting with them at their next
Okay.
meeting. I believe that's Monday. We've already,
Okay.
like I said, met with the chairman and kind of went through some of the issues we're seeing. I got their recommendations.
Do they see where they are budget-wise? I mean, do they get a report, or do they know? I just,
I think we are, so Parks Director just took over in January.
Yes, and I know
think
that, too.
We're still trying to get ahead of what all is involved. And so my meeting was with
Okay.
Jim and Marty about the parks budget to understand. We're going through an audit right now of what really came in from sales tax dollars, where it's spent. There's about $130,000 also budgeted for city to make sure maintenance is up, so we have to make
Right.
sure that's happening. So, yes, it is a concern of ours as well. We need to go and reset some expectations and get them to give new feedback. Part of this, one of the changes that we just made recently is this is a board, and there's certain ways it has to run that it hadn't been running either. We need to have an agenda. We need to take meeting minutes. We need to be a little bit more formal than we were. So we've changed that within the last month as well. So yes, we're actively trying to catch up and run this like it should be run and make sure we're using their voices appropriately. One of the meetings I had with them was talking about we can use them and we should use them now that we have a Parks Department as in more advisory capacity than just the sales tax budget and changing. There's policy, there's procedure, there's events, there's the opening of these parks, there's a lot more things that I think that we can utilize them for. Jared has gone out to 3 different cities, talked to their Parks Department to understand how they're using their advisory committee to kind of help us facilitate, make sure we're using them to their full potential as well.
Okay. I'm not complaining, because I know we've had to change. You have Jared on there now, and and all that. I just don't want to see the people lose faith in us when we ask them for another sales tax years down for something else.
Yeah.
Because I've been worried about our streets ones, and we're very fortunate that those passed. But here now, you have a plan, and you gave it to us. We finally have a plan, and that's what the people want to see.
Yeah.
And just like if they listen to tonight's meeting, what we're going to do on the streets that Thomas presented and so forth.
Yeah.
You got to live up to their expectations.
Yeah.
And
The high level 30,000-foot view is the plan is not working, and we need to actively get
Okay.
in with that advisory committee and figure out how to make those changes to still accomplish, because I think we can, the same result. We're
Just
just
in
going
a
to need to
different mannerism.
approach it a different way and
Okay.
reallocate funds for things like, we should have used a contractor to take out all those trees and re-level the ground. We shouldn't have relied on city staff. So those adjustments we'll be talking about on Monday with them. Thank you. It is a great concern. It's been on our mind.
Okay.
We're trying to address
That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
At the next meeting, not now, but at the next meeting, could you provide us, more or less for the benefit of the public, a street sweeper operations plan, or at least let us know what's going to be happening going forward in the spring?
Yes, absolutely, we can do that. Thomas, you heard that? You get with Jim on that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Where are we at on the out-of-state tag issue?
Let's see, I think I came and reported on that. I want to say that essentially the county attorney, we confirmed that we're not going to see further action from them.
But that we could pursue it on our own?
These things can go to civil court, yes.
Okay, so where are we at on that? Because my perception was that there was a consensus of this group that we do that. Am I incorrect? Am I incorrect?
We wanted it done, and there was the issue of support, outside the police department.
I think my comment last time was that our police officers do write tickets for out-of-state tickets when they detect that there's been a violation. I don't know that they're, actively going after out-of-state tags. I think that's primarily they pull somebody over for some other infraction and then address it, yeah. From a resource standpoint, a previous county attorney put together he was much more active about enforcing the out-of-state tag situation, different regime, and the county attorney has more resources to do so than the city does, just in terms of availability of tax records and that kind of tax information and that kind of thing. So,
Well, it was just a couple of years ago, we had 2 city commissioners who were running around with Oklahoma tags on their vehicles. Now, those 2 people aren't here any longer. I don't know how much more in law enforcement's face such a circumstance could be. Those people were never ticketed. And as a citizen, I find that outrageous. And I'm asking everybody in this room tonight, are we just going to let people continue to do this and watch it continue to get worse? Or are we going to belly up to the bar and do something about it? Now, I pay my taxes for my car every May. And I want to know why we're allowing people to get away with cheating on their taxes. It's a
So-
very simple situation. It's not complicated at all. It can be complicated if you want to let it.
Well, the complication there, and I'm not trying to be opinionated about this, but you need to figure out who is breaking this law. Well, how do you do that? The current way right now is when there is an infraction some type.
It's the
it's
worst kept
on the
secret
list.
in every neighborhood in this town.
So where I'm getting at with this is, I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, that you want police to go door to door looking for Oklahoma tags, knocking on the door and looking it up. That's the level the county attorney did take, is they put resources on and they essentially proactively went door to door. That's our option to find out. Outside of like a public figure that, like you said, everybody knows, or neighbors calling in and reporting, that's the level that we'd have to go and take this. If that's what commissioners want, we can put that on PD's list, but that's what we're talking about, is how do we figure it out? And to your point, it's a secret everybody knows, well then they need to call and report that in, or we go
Well, what
door
I'm
to
hearing is it
door.
wouldn't make a difference.
What's that?
What I'm hearing is there's no appetite for us to do anything about it.
The appetite's going to come from the 5 of you. If you want us to go door to door, what the action today is, when someone makes a violation, you go through, just like we talked about with with ICE. If there is a detainer out there, right, that gets flagged. If they're going through and see a driver's license with an address as Kansas, we have an Oklahoma plate. So
I hope we're getting accurate information about the ICE situation, because I'll tell you a secret. A very good friend of mine is a very high-placed person in the federal government dealing with those deportations.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope we're getting accurate information.
Yeah, in
Because
fact,
if
we
I
got
find
another-
out that we're not, I'm going to be really upset. And I'm already starting to suspect that what I'm hearing from one source of information and what I'm hearing from another, something's already not starting to jive a little bit.
I would say that what you're hearing from your police department, myself, is what's accurate, and what you're hearing somewhere else, I would question, but I would be happy to meet with them and to hear. We got a letter today
They don't
with
live here.
more instruction, and so we continue to receive that from the ICE front, and we are going to follow the law every time, absolutely. But we've got the Kansas Association of Chiefs that puts out information. We have the AG from the state that puts out information. We have it, the last letter that we got was the Attorney General from the federal. We are over all of that constantly. The big thing that's happening right now from the federal government side is they are increasing the warrants out there. So if someone gets an infraction, they do something illegal, they get pulled over, then there's an interaction. That's when you run fingerprints, that's when you go through the database, and then you find out if ICE or any other federal agency is looking for them.
Sure.
There's even further jurisdictional issues that we're finding, and this is because we're getting it from the federal government.
Yep.
There's some authority that we don't have, and we have to go seek that out to be able to do that. So, no, there is nothing that we are aware of that says we're not doing everything we're supposed to be doing right now.
Okay.
If there's other information and other sources, we'd be happy to hear what they have to say.
What is it going to take for us to get the West Coffeyville School gymnasium torn down this year?
I think it's
I've had
on the
I've
list.
had
$60,000.
I've had a number of people that live in that neighborhood that look out their front doors every day.
We're-
And and I tell you why I feel like it should be a priority. The city, if I remember correctly, at one
Half the
point owned
budget
that
for next
building.
Yeah. So,
And so we had a hand in letting it get into the state of disrepair.
yeah, our 25 amendments are addressing how much we want to spend, and so when we go through to do those amendments, we can up and down those amounts. But the $60,000, that's essentially where we're kind of stuck up at. Do we want to get 20, 30, or 40 more houses done? We have you're already aware of the building in downtown that's going to be coming off of that budget. So we're trying to manage the budget on what we really want to see done and where the money's going to be eaten. And we will be having those conversations and those amendments on where we want to focus. We think, Paul and I are working on a deal that the city may not have to pay for the demolition in downtown, which will be helpful to some of these other projects. But-
Over by the old fire department building.
Yeah. So,
Does the city still own that West Coffeyville School gymnasium?
no.
We did sell that property then.
Yes.
We don't
Board
know.
of Education.
That's what I was gonna bring up is then the current owner's not
No,
walking
it's
away
private
from it.
property.
So do you charge it to them? You charge it to them on their property taxes?
So
That's
he-
exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah, so
Then they're not gonna pay it.
he lives on a section of that property, I
Yeah, he
believe.
does.
Well, he lives in the schoolhouse, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
lives in the.
That's my understanding. I haven't been out there,
Yeah.
but if the city demolished it, then the cost of the demolition would be assessed against the property.
Then what?
Well, if he doesn't pay it, then that
That's-
property gets sold at the tax sale.
Is it all together as one property or is it section?
I'm thinking it's all one
It's all-
parcel.
it's all
It's
Yeah.
one
So-
parcel, and that's the other part of that process is when someone's actively living in there, we go through a little bit longer of a process to remove them. So, yes, on the code enforcement side, we plan to, separately from our budget amendments, come and talk about that budget, where we want to go because of the increase that we're talking, how it affects our court clerk, how it affects what we're doing with animal control. We're working on our ordinance right now to pull animal control in to be part of code enforcement versus police to help those efforts. So all of that is being actively worked on. Our next big push to come to commissioners is where do we want to spend the money? You know, we're trying to also lower costs. Right now, we've got an idea. I think Independence does this, and we found one other city. Our 15 roll-offs, it has not been working real well. And so we're talking about, do we still do 15 loads worth, but we allow anybody to come dump at our location where we store them? So we are actively working through those. It's going to come down to commission and the budget on action for a lot of that. Back to where it started, though, on license plates. That's what we need, that's
I
the
already
direction.
given up on that. Now you're bringing it back up.
Well,
No,
so,
That brings
I'm
up
trying
a-
to stop fighting.
I thought this ended at another meeting, so now I need a new direction.
and if there is a known offender, that information needs to be given to law enforcement and at least let them investigate it. And you prosecute a few offenders and the message gets out.
Well, this brings up a much bigger issue at the state level is when you compare to Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma, whatever other states. Why does Kansas charge property taxes on cars and sales tax? It's like, pick one or the other. I mean, it gets sales taxed and then you don't do that on other stuff. Why are cars singled out for that? And the way to do it in Texas is like a $80,
Sure.
registration fee every year, and that's it. It's not this $1,600
Well,
property tax bill on a very fast appreciating
Yeah,
piece of property called a vehicle.
probably for,
But that's a state level thing. Is what
well, just like why does the state force funding community colleges onto the backs of towns the size of Coffeyville and Independence, Parsons, Iola, Chanute.
We partially got that explanation, but
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
That's a whole other
topic.
issue.
Do we need to look at the, Oklahoma tags and go that level? If that's,
It is gonna be really difficult for the next 6 months. Just saying.
for the next 6
Well,
months?
yeah, because of turnaround.
Turnaround.
Oh.
I wouldn't, and turnaround, you've got everybody up from
Texas.
Texas and Louisiana, and
All
that's
that.
just gonna be, I wouldn't.
Crammed in every rental house in town.
Exactly, and they're just up here for a limited time, so I wouldn't worry about it right
Yeah,
now.
I think if what you're suggesting is true, that everybody knows their neighbor that's doing it, those people need to report it. When the police go and do a violation, then we look at that way. That next
Why
level
don't you put
is.
that on the splash page for Coffeyville.com and see how many people, see if I'm right or not.
I think that there are people that listen to this meeting that this may be on Facebook now, so we will see.
We're gonna be on Facebook.
Yeah.
It'll be a topic.
WKOP, if you're listening, that was a
Look
shout
at
out to
this
you.
jerk. He wants me to tag he wants me to buy a Kansas tag. Ha, ha, ha.
We get enough money, we might be able to buy a trencher.
Who says these meetings aren't fun?
Okay.
All right, anybody have anything else?
We digress.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to
I
adjourn.
second.
We just started having fun. Now you guys want to go home?
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Bannister, seconded by Commissioner Faulkner to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.